Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, or not see you, but I'm glad you're on math. Today we're going to be talking about ratio or scaling or resizing. Normally, when you think about multiplication, you think about the product or the answer being a bigger number than the two factors that you multiplied. For instance, you might think about, oops, hang on, trying to get this to write. For instance, you might think 8 times 2 equals 16. So the two factors, 8 and 2, are smaller than 16. Well, when you're multiplying with fractions, we found that this rule of multiplying two factors and getting a greater number is only true with whole numbers. With numbers less than 1 or fractions, decimals, something different happens. I want you to take a moment just to think, what happens when I multiply 2 by 1/2? So when we multiply 2 times 1/2 or 1/2 of 2, our answer is 1. The product is a smaller number. Well, I'm looking at these two pictures, and if you haven't guessed, that's a picture of my dad. And my dad is a sculptor, and he made this sculpture right here of a nurse. It's outside Tacoma General Hospital, and he has two sculptures that you can see look identical. Well, he used ratio and scaling to make both of these exactly the same. Only one is smaller. One is 1/7 of the size of the big one. The little one is 1/7 of the size of the big one. And so what they used to do, this one actually was done with a computer helped all the scaling, but when he did the sculpture that is in front of the library a number of years ago, he actually physically took measurements of all of the different parts of the sculpture. He made a little one, he took the measurements, he multiplied them, and got the measurements for the big sculpture. And then he was able to make the big sculpture using those ratio resizing measurements. So sculptures are one time where you might see a lot of ratio being used. Can you think of other times when you might resize or scale? Maybe if you're into architecture, you might use resizing and scaling. Lots and lots of different times. So today, that's what we're going to be learning about. The challenge I have for you is to make some sort of a sculpture on your own, make a big one, and maybe not life-size big, but a biggish one, and then take some measurements and multiply those by half or by a quarter and try to make an exact replica that is scaled down. So that's my challenge for you, and you can do that any way you see, any way you want. Maybe you'll make something out of cardboard, maybe you'd make something out of clay or salt dough or paper mache, totally up to you. And scale it down and see if you can make an exact replica, just like we've got two exact replicas on this picture, but one is scaled down by 1/7. So here is another way for you to think about it. Which problem in the set will give you the largest product, and which one will give you the smallest without multiplying? So look at set 1. We've got set 1 right here. And without actually figuring out the answer, which one will give you the biggest product, the biggest answer? Go ahead and pause right now. Okay, welcome back. So if you said C will give you the biggest answer, you're right. C, you're multiplying a whole number and a fraction times a whole number. So I can just look at that and know 2 times 2 is 4, and that's going to be bigger than A and B. Go ahead and pause and see if you can figure out which one's the smallest in set 1. And you're right. A is, I'm going to assume you're right. A is the smallest. 1/2 is a smaller fraction than 3/3, because 3/3 is actually a whole number. 3/3 is actually 1, and 1/2 is going to give you less than 2 as your answer. Go ahead and look at set 2. Pause the video, figure out the largest and then the smallest, and then look at set 3 and do the same, largest and smallest. So for set 2, the largest is A. Sorry, my writing is a little wonky. And the smallest would be B. And set 3, the largest would be B. And the smallest would be C. Okay, so you're going to go ahead to your reteaching page and give it a shot. Good luck, everybody. Just think about what you know when you're multiplying 2 whole numbers and when you're multiplying a whole number with a fraction. And you're on the reteaching, you're basically going to be telling me if the problem they have, if the answer is going to be greater than, less than, or equal to. You don't actually have to do the math. You just have to problem solve to think what it's going to be. So it's kind of making an estimate. Don't get tied up with trying to do the exact math at the moment. We're going to get onto that later. All right, good luck.